Hey, welcome. So today we're going to pull back the curtain on what makes a story, any story, truly great. We're going to break down the hidden formula behind powerful narratives, and by the end of this, you'll have a tool you can literally use for anything. Let's jump right in. All right, so I've got a puzzle for you. What on earth could these four things possibly have in common? I mean, think about it. We've got an old Hindi fable about a farmer. We've got a super technical guide on sound design for movie trailers, a how-to on writing scripts for cartoons, and a deep dive into the history of local government in India. It sounds totally random, right? Well, believe it or not, they all use the exact same secret formula. They are all, in their own way, brilliant examples of the same core storytelling principles. It doesn't matter if you're trying to teach a lesson, sell a movie, explain a product, or untangle a complex history. The way you make an idea stick, it's absolutely universal. And that brings us to our very first principle, finding the core message. This is the bedrock, the foundation. Before you write a single word, you have to know the one thing, the single most important idea you're trying to get across. This is the what of your story. So what is a core message? It's that one single idea you want your audience to walk away with. It's all about cutting through the noise. You know, the guide from Animaker just nails it when it says you have to simplify your core message. Because if you try to say 10 different things, you end up saying nothing at all. And check this out. This is a perfect example of this in action. On the left, you've got this really complex academic description of India's panchayat system. It's a total mouthful. But the story behind all that complexity, it's about empowering villages. So you boil it all down to a core message that's simple, powerful, and easy to remember, giving power back to the people. And just like that, this dense topic has a point you can actually grab onto.
And of course, fables? I mean, they're the absolute champions of the core message. The entire story of the honest farmer, his struggles, the greedy merchant, his big win in the end, it's all built to deliver this one unforgettable lesson. Truth always wins. Simple, powerful, and it stays with you. Okay, that leads us right into our second big idea, forging an emotional connection. If that core message is the what of your story, then emotion is the why. Facts and figures are great, they speak to the brain. But emotion is what grabs the heart and makes a story unforgettable. So, how do you actually do that? Well, you've got this whole toolbox you can use. The Animaker Guide says it flat out, connect emotionally. And a fantastic way to do that is with compelling characters. We root for the honest farmer, right? We can't stand the greedy merchant. But you can also build emotion with things like suspense, pacing, sound. You can make pretty much any topic feel personal and adventurous.
And get this, that guide on movie trailer audio, it's not just about big explosions. It's all about playing with your emotions. This quote is so revealing, even silence can be a tool. I mean, think about that moment in a scary movie when all the music just stops, right before the big jump. That silence is designed to crank up the tension. It's a purely technical choice, all for an emotional punch. And then you have the most direct tool of all, character. We go from that clever technical trick with silence to this, the raw human emotion in this line. When the farmer gets accused of being a thief, he doesn't read off a list of evidence. No, it's a cry from the heart that tells us everything we need to know about who he is. And instantly, we're on his side. That's an emotional connection. All right, so you've got your message, you've got the emotion, but what now? You can't just have feelings floating around, right? A story needs a skeleton, a framework to hang everything on. And that brings us to principle number 3, building a logical structure. This is the how of your story. It's what makes it all make sense.
You know, that Animaker Guide breaks down these common structures really well. And what's so cool is seeing how our other examples just slot right in. The farmer story, classic problem solution. The Panchayat article, that uses the historical method, just telling the story from beginning to end. And the Animaker Guide itself, well, it uses the direct explanatory method, breaking down its advice into clear steps, which is kind of what we're doing right now. We've made it to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the most crucial one, the call to action. A truly great story doesn't just end. It asks something of you. It answers that all-important question, now what? This is the moment a story turns you from a passive listener into an active participant. A call to action, or CTA for short, is the part of your script that really gives it its purpose. It's where you tell your audience, okay, here's what I want you to do, or think, or feel, with everything I just told you. And it can look very, very different depending on the story.
So sometimes the call to action is super direct, totally commercial. Like in the Animaker Guide. After they teach you how to do it, their goal is simple: get you to create your video.
Then you have the moral call to action. In the fable, the story isn't just entertainment. It's asking us to make a choice in our own lives, to choose honesty. It's an appeal to our character.
A call to action can also be civic and a little more subtle. The article on panchayats doesn't just give you a history lesson, it's nudging you to understand and get involved in your own community to strengthen democracy. And of course, with the movie trailer guide, every single tip, every sound effect, every emotional trick is driving towards one ultimate goal: get you to buy a ticket and watch the movie.
So there you have it, the universal formula, brought to life by 4 completely different sources. Let's recap. First, you start with a single core message. That's your what. Then you forge an emotional connection. That's your why. You hang it all on a logical structure. That's your how. And finally, you wrap it up with a clear call to action. That's your now what.
And you know what's so great about this? This isn't some secret handshake for Hollywood screenwriters or big shot marketers. This is a toolkit for everybody. Whether you're giving a presentation at work, explaining something to your kids, or even just telling a friend about your day, these 4 principles will make your message clearer, stickier, and way more powerful. So next time you need to get an idea across, think about these 4 steps. You have the playbook, the same one that connects ancient fables to modern movies. The only question left is, what story are you gonna tell?